Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Tuesday edition of the JP Peterson Show here. We got lots to get to on Super Tuesday here. IndyCar Tim Ham is joining me live from our Dallas affiliate where, Texas is kind of the epicenter of sports right now with the ALCS going on between the Astros and the Rangers, and Dak getting it done last night for the Cowboys and their defense. How about that, Timmy? Good morning to you.
Good morning, JP. Good morning, Tampa Bay, St. Pete. Dak showed us a little something yesterday. I don't know if he showed me enough, but there was a very telltale sign about the way things are in Dallas right now. Well, I think we'll get to that a little bit later here. That happened right before halftime.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get to all that. Scott Reynolds going to join us from Pewter Report as he does each and every Tuesday, along with Bucs sideline guy TJ Rives. So we will dive deep into what's going on with the Buccaneers. The sky is not falling, everybody. Sky is not falling. It's fine. That's pretty much what we expected. Well, I guess a lot of people expected a lot worse, but I think if you're heading for the Skyway, just stop. It's fine. This is where the Bucs should be right now. In fact, I think they're ahead of the game, but they got some changes to make. We got to get into what's missing with the Buccaneers. Same with the Bolts. 2 straight losses for Tampa Bay this weekend. They got a game tonight at Buffalo, a very, very much improved Buffalo team. And John Cooper's bunch has got to get off the schneid. They've started 1-3 last year, but not giving up as many goals as they have this year. So we'll talk a little Bolts as well. We'll get into the baseball. Just watching these games and the atmospheres, you're just we're very envious, my friend.
I'm very envious. God, I love baseball.
Will you be going to any of the Rangers games as they come back to Globe Life Field?
100%.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. That is going to. We look forward to getting the experience and living it vicariously through you, since we didn't quite create the same atmosphere here in the raucous St. Petersburg.
Guarantee you will have more than 19,000 on hand at the Globe.
Probably outside.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So we'll get to that. And I want to talk a little college football as well as we get into the show. Andy Staples put out this mock 12-team playoff, which, this year would be just freaking phenomenal. So we'll look at that. You're very familiar, Tim, with Oklahoma and Texas and some of these teams that are in the mix out there. Obviously, we're in my Florida State stuff today. So we'll get into that. And, hey, maybe the Gators can get back into it. Beat Georgia, get to the SEC championship game. Who knows, right? There's a pathway.
The SEC's better when Florida's good. I'm telling you that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not saying that's happening, folks, but you never know in this wacky world of college football. Graham Mertz is playing some good football, but we'll see. All right, so I want to jump into this with the Buccaneers to get things started. And, I was watching the tape last night and looking at a few things. And, we look through this as through the lens of how close are the Buccaneers to getting back to the Super Bowl, right? Like, what's it going to take for Tampa Bay to get back to the Super Bowl? Where are they deficient right now? And I think there's 2 areas that are just jumping off the page at you when you watch this tape. And that's the run game and outside pressure for the pass rushers. And these are 2 places where the Bucs are just not getting the production that they need. Todd Bowles said yesterday that JTS, who did have a sack in the game, and Shaq Barrett played great. I don't know about that. I think obviously Shaq did not have a sack, did not have a pressure. They had 4 total tackles in the game, two assists, 2 primary tackles. He did play hard. I think he had an illness, but if you're an $18 million a year pass rusher coming off the edge, not having any quarterback pressures is in my butt. And I love Shaq Barrett. Nobody loves him more than me as a human being. I mean, what he went through, I'm not sitting here banging on him, but football is football, right? Where is this team deficient? He's got to be better. You can't have a guy paying a guy that much money to be a premier pass rusher and get no quarterback pressures in a game like this. And I know Detroit is good, but he just had way too much time. They were missing a couple of starting offensive linemen, at least one starting offensive lineman. I think another one went out. So this, this was an opportunity, and Kaladji was back in there. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka did have a sack, but I didn't see any consistent pressure from him on the outside in this league. And this is interesting, and it's come back to Dallas. Dallas is, I think, top 2 or 3 in the league in quarterback pressures the last couple of years, and they've had 19 games with 15 pressures or more. Their record in those games, 17-2. The other top 2 teams in pressures, the Chiefs and the Bills. What do these teams have in common? They win a lot of football games. But the Bucs, while their pressure numbers have not been bad, they have to do it with blitzing. They don't have premier pass rushers that are getting the job done. And without that, you're going to be really hard pressed to be a consistent winner in the NFL. So if there's one thing on the shopping list, the number one thing on the shopping list for the Buccaneers, I think, as they move forward, is an impact pass rusher. They have got to find somebody on the outside that can get the job done, whether through free agency or through the draft. They have got to find a pass rusher, and I think that's as clear as day right now. And Tim, you can just speak to this, how the Cowboys defense has been transformed by Micah Parsons.
Yeah, when you've got a pass rush on the quarterback, it enhances the rest of the defense. It takes pressure off the secondary. It takes pressure off the linebackers, unless they're the ones rushing the passer. But, Micah Parsons came on. I wasn't a fan of that pick. I'm like, why are you picking a linebacker at I think he was at 12 or 13, I'm like, come on, this was right after a few years after they drafted Zeke at 4,
Right.
But dude, I don't think anybody expected him to come on the way he did. Now, of course, he's not your typical linebacker. Everybody understands he's a generational talent, but we've got several guys on the Cowboys that can pass the rush. We've got a great pass rush unless they face a really, really good offensive line. Then that's where the Cowboys run into issues, and that's why building an offensive line is so important for every NFL team to protect your quarterback. So
where are we going here? Offensive line and defensive line, right? Shocking development. Let's get back to the trenches. Right. It's just, I know it's obvious, but I think here's the thing though. Everybody knows pass rush is important. That's Captain Obvious. But it's the singular guys. It's the Micah Parsons. It's the Von Millers. It's the Khalil Macks. It's these guys that make everybody else better on the pass rush, because at some point in the game, they're going to get singled up. If you're not getting them singled up by doing games and different things, then that's your defensive coordinator is the problem. And once you get those guys in those one-on-one matchups, and that's what you're supposed to do, they're going to win almost 70-80% of the time. The TJ Watts, those type of guys, the Aiden Hutchinson, who the Bucs did a great job on this past week. Mm-hmm. Those guys are difference makers, and that's why they get paid a lot of money, and that's why they're high draft picks. Those are the physical freak athletes that are just better than everybody else. Look at Micah Parsons. His combination of power and speed is unmatched. That sack last night on Herbert late in the game, that was violent and it was quick, and he got there in a heartbeat, because guys can throw the ball away. You've got to have that special athlete. And look at these pass rushers. Look at what they look like. Look at how they play from an athletic standpoint. I look at JTS and I'm like, bro, you're just not that guy. You're not that guy. You're not a violent, super fast, super powerful athlete. I mean, just look at him. Does he look like TJ Watt? Does he look like Khalil Mack? Does he look like Aiden? No. You know who does? Yaya Diaby.
Yeah.
Yaya Diaby. And that guy needs to start getting more run. He's got upside in the ceiling. He's really, really raw, but I would be playing him a hell of a lot more than he's getting played right now, because these other guys have proven they're not it. They're just not it.
Yeah, and take Micah Parsons, for example. Everybody understands he's one of the best on the field today. He didn't get his first sack. The Cowboys didn't get their first sack until the fourth quarter. And it shows these guys are trying the entire game, and they're not getting – it's a close game still. The game's still in question. It was, I think, mid-fourth quarter by the time he got that sack. But that doesn't mean he wasn't, rushing the passer. He wasn't getting quarterback hits. He's involved the entire game, and that's what makes these guys good. Yeah, no, absolutely. And sometimes it's not getting sacks, but it's just getting that constant pressure, which Detroit did to Baker last week. Hutchinson didn't. I think he got one quarterback pressure, but they had to pay attention to him. He was in his face all game long,
and it just the nagging hits on him, him hitting his hand on the helmets, 2 or 3 times. That stuff matters. It really, really does matter. And, for the Buccaneers, they weren't affecting the quarterback at all. Goff looked like he was out for a stroll at the beach. They did not affect him. I can't remember one time they got a decent hit on him. And that's why a guy throws for 350 and is incredibly efficient. And that was a difference in the game.
Yeah.
So pass rush is number one. They've got to find some dudes that can do it. Second of all, it's the run game. Okay, stupid, obvious, duh. I'm watching the tape last night, and there's no movement. There is no movement up front. You have got to move people. When you double team through angles, through something, you've got to move people. And when they do get an alley, the running backs are just not finding those quick cuts and those quick alleys. And they're there. They're there to be had. So you say in some ways, and it's a combination of both. In the moments where they've created alleys, the running backs are not making the right pick. And that's a talent. That's a vision thing. That's just, you got to find guys that can do it. And Rachaad White and Keyshawn Vaughn just don't do it. I thought both of these guys could be decent backs in the NFL. When they're in the open field, they sometimes make guys miss, but their ability to find the holes and feel the seams, and it's a rare ability. I mean, you see the good ones do it, right? I mean, when Zeke was at his best, he was doing it. Tony Pollard's really, really good at it. The good ones you just see accelerating. Watch Austin Eckler last night following his blockers. I mean, these guys it's an innate thing. I don't even think it's coachable, right? It's just you either have it as a running back or you don't. And I just don't see it in these two running backs. And the offensive line is not getting any push. And here's the problem. That's hard to fix. Yeah. That's really, really hard to fix. And if your guys aren't big enough or strong enough to get push, you've got to find a way as a play caller to get misdirection or find some guys, and your backs don't have the vision. You're kind of stuck. And we're going to listen to Todd Bowles in a little bit. And he was asked about going to getting a guy, and he's like, no, we're not looking for another running back. Whew.
So give me some insight, JP, on the Leonard Fournette situation. I thought he was not bad for you guys, and he's still out looking for work. Reports came out this morning. He's going to go talk to the Bills. And reports are there's multiple teams interested.
Last year, he probably was 20 pounds overweight than what he played at the year before. Playoff Lenny, we haven't seen for quite some time. A couple donuts shy of 260 we saw last year. He was so slow to the hole, bro. Last year, he was so slow to the hole. And I know I think he averaged like 3.4 last year, which is, a little below average in the NFL. Yeah. It's just, you bring him in, it's still such a low ceiling, and this is a team that's building. So why do you want to bring in a veteran to kind of give you a low ceiling and just maybe some semblance of it? I think, clearly he could maybe be better in the screen game, maybe give you a little bit more push in the run game, but I don't think it's going to, it's not something that he's not taking you to another Super Bowl. He's not leading you there. So would it be better than these two guys? Maybe a little bit. I mean, I think the coaches are saying, well, hopefully, Rachaad and Keyshawn have a better upside than Leonard Fournette. I think they're hoping that at some point they're going to start seeing these cuts and seeing these lanes. And because Rachaad White's got some explosiveness in him. Keyshawn's got a little bit too. They've got some of that in them when they're in the open field. You just don't see it. So, because there's nowhere to run. Yeah. So and that's why if I'm the Bucs, I'm looking for something. I'm looking for somebody there's got to be 3, 4, 5. So we find them every year through injury, right? Like running backs go down, another guy steps up, and boom, here we see, these guys just emerge out of Isaiah Pacheco in the 7th round. All these guys, Tony Pollard. I mean, they just emerge, and suddenly A-Chain in Miami, who's hurt now. That guy was, nobody was yelling and screaming about him, right? And look what he did. Yeah. So they're out there in their 3rd, 4th, 5th rounders. Some of them are undrafted free agents. So, get your pro personnel people to start beating the bushes and see if you can go find somebody, make a trade. But it's got to be somebody with upside for the future. If I'm giving away any assets and I'm the Buccaneers, it's got to be somebody for the future that's a future that you can work with. Other than that, bringing in Fournette, that doesn't get me going. But those to me, these are the two issues right now you have. You've got a run game that's going absolutely nowhere and a defensive coach that wants to rely on the run game. that's going to be a bang. And Todd says you don't want to bang your head against a wall, but it's kind of what you're doing. Even though they only ran it 16 times, that's kind of what you're doing. If you just can't get, even with 6 guys in the box, if you can't get any push or any movement at all, you're dead in the water. Yep. And that's going to, and here's the thing, when teams realize you can't run the football and they start playing a little, then it becomes hard to throw the football. And then some of the windows get a little bit tighter for Baker Mayfield. So, this is like we had Sal Powell on yesterday, and he's very, very astute at this. And a lot of the students of the game will tell you week 7, week 6, week 7. This is when teams start to separate themselves, the good teams and the good coaches. Right now, your injuries are piling up, so you got to coach around injuries. Right? You got to find your depth. Not only this guy can do this, but you got to coach around it. Right? You got to get some depth. You get some injuries in the secondary. How are you going to coach around it? How are you going to keep those guys from getting exposed for big plays? Offensive line injuries. How are you going to protect your quarterback if this guy, you've got some deficiencies up front? So this is when coaching staffs really, really start earning their money, attacking those weaknesses that you find in other teams with lack of depth. Where are these new guys coming in? How do we attack them? And this is where you really, really start to see it. So, we'll see if Todd Bowles can do it. We'll see if Dave Canales can do it. These guys have not had great records. Obviously Canales is first-year play caller. So let's see them attack it.
Yep.
And I think that's going to kind of decide. And now here comes Atlanta. Their quarterback is awful.
Terrible.
Desmond Ridder, and his confidence has to be at an all-time low right now. He was awful at the end of that game. If you haven't seen it, go back and watch the replay. Just go to the fourth quarter. The Falcons had chance after chance after chance. He threw 2 horrific interceptions, so much so that Arthur Smith was like,
his facial expressions on the sideline were priceless.
It's like, oh, my God. Yeah, it was. So, this is a great opportunity to go get it, but you got to stop the run. Bijan Robinson, he can run the damn football. He's a hell of a player. He can catch it and run it too. But I think, the Bucs defense has been pretty good in that regard. So I'm not really scared about that. And Ritter's awful, but you got to put up points, man. You got to put up points on this Atlanta defense, and Dave Canales is going to have to attack them in the way that a lot of other teams have, and let's see what happens.
Y'all have the fortune of playing in a horrible division.
Right, exactly.
Talking about Atlanta, New Orleans, Carolina. Carolina may not win a game this year.
Yeah.
And New Orleans may not win another game this year, to be honest with you. So I don't know.
Hey, if you guys want to jump in on the comments, you can do it on Facebook. You can do it on YouTube, and you can do it on Twitter as well, on X as well. Just you guys know where I'm at FanstreamJP. You can comment anywhere, and we'll get your comments as we like doing. James Ludeman is on this morning with us. Good morning, James. Says that's why Todd Bowles is a good coordinator, but not a good coach. He should call out his stars for not playing well after 2 embarrassing losses against 2 top teams. I could not agree more. Could not agree more. You can't, and he does this a lot. He goes to the podium, and guys that aren't really producing, he covers up for them, and he kind of puts it on the whole team. And I get that, and that's his approach. I get it. I don't think it works in this modern day and age.
Do you think he coaches that way too? Because we all know that a lot of coaches are different in the locker room than they are at the stand. Do you think he's in the locker room being that way to these guys that are underperforming? Say, hey, we got you. We'll pick you up. It's okay. Instead of maybe getting in their face and giving them the business,
I don't know. I've heard, from my sources that he can be tough on guys. He can be really tough on guys. I don't know. I think he's too nice.
Question mark.
I think he's too nice. I don't know if he has any asshole in him, to be quite honest. He's just too nice of a guy.
Tony Dungy had the reputation of being too nice, and he won a Super Bowl, and he was a great coach for you guys.
It's funny. Tony would do it, and I covered him, and I know him well. Tony would do it in a different way. Tony was like, and you've heard Derek talk about this, and Rondé and a bunch of other guys, and when they explain it to you, they have this look on their face like it's like your dad. Like your dad, like you don't want to disappoint your dad. You don't want your dad coming home finding out, what you did at school today. Remember that terror that went through your body, right? That's what Tony Dungy would be like. He was such a good man, and you loved him so much, and he worked and all these things that you never wanted to disappoint him. And he would put his trust in you and like, okay, I'm trusting you to go, and you never wanted to disappoint him. So coaches motivate in different ways, right? And that was when Tony would come in and he would look you in the eye and he'd say something, it would be like, oh my God, it would crush your soul, but not in a way that he was yelling and screaming,
It was effective, though.
It was effective.
Yeah.
He got accountability in that way.
Right.
By creating that atmosphere. Every coach does it in a different cultural way, right? What is the culture? How does he do it?
Right.
And that was Tony's way, and it's very, very effective. That's why he's a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
But and I don't know if Todd Bowles has that type of gravitas. I don't know, and I don't mean that to be dismissive of him in any way. I just don't sense that same. I don't sense the fear. I don't sense that type of gravitas where they're just like, they love him and they'll run through the wall for him. It's what they say, but it doesn't seem the same. And maybe it's because he hasn't won to the level that Tony won, what kind of the chicken or the egg. But you get that sense that guys don't fear him. 2 players to get rid of, Tompkins and Neal. These 2 were awful. I don't know too much. I think Devin Tompkins has a role. I think he has a role. I don't think they're using him in the right way. They have a couple times earlier in this year. He's made plays. He had a bad game, and a couple of times they're throwing screens out there to Devin Tompkins, and the guys that are blocking for him can't get the block. I mean, Devin Tompkins is 5'9", 175 pounds. If you don't get the block and get him in open space, that's on you. That's the design of the play. Is there's 2 guys out there. One guy's in press coverage and the other guy's 15 yards behind him. So you're expecting, throw the ball out there, get a block on the first guy, and then Tompkins is in the open field one-on-one with a guy who's coming up from 15 yards. He's going to beat that guy 9 times out of 10, and then you're off to the races. That's a good play. But if you don't get the block, it ain't going to work. Now, there was another play they went to him where he was on single. He was a single receiver set, I think 3 to the right. So you're gonna run him on an inside slant, but against every corner is going to be bigger than him, and that corner beat him to the ball physically, and that's a bad call. That's a bad call. That's a route that needs to be Mike Evans or Chris Godwin, a physical receiver who's going to beat the corner to the ball one-on-one. So that's a bad concept play. So in that way, are you using Tompkins in the right way? To me, both of those plays are on execution and the coordinator. You can't, if he's 5'9", 180, 175, you shouldn't be counting on him to make plays in traffic. That's not his thing. So use him in the right way. I think Tompkins can still be a guy, but I'm not calling 7 plays a game for him. I'm giving him, 3 to 5, 6 touches a game in the right situations, using him to stretch the defense with his speed. Let's don't put it all on the players. And Neal has not played well in this defense so far. I would say D. Delaney needs to get those reps. I think they see a higher ceiling for Neal. He's more of a physical player. He's more of a physical presence than Delaney, but Delaney's a smarter player, and he's in the right, and he knows where to play and when to play and how to play. And Neal doesn't have that yet. So again, some of these guys are still growing, and it's not a finished product. Fernando says, how do we listen online? Go to fanstreamsports.com. You can listen online there. You can go to YouTube, our DSP JP Peterson show. You can go to Twitter online. Just go to twitter.com @FanStreamJP, Facebook. So lots of different ways to listen online. James says Vita Vea was the best impact player Sunday. I disagree, Levante David. Levante David was all over the field, and you said that too. So I think Vea was good. I think Levante David was better. I think Devin White was just a guy. I think he was second in the team at tackles, but a lot of those were downfield. So, yeah. Issue Baker can't throw it 35 to 40 times a game. The run game has to be better, but the O-line is just not opening up holes. Yeah, see, that's where you're stuck. You don't want Baker throwing it 35, 40 times a game. You don't. But if you can't run the football, what is your option here? See, this is where you're starting to get stuck. So what are you going to do? Now, you have some options on the offensive line. You do have options on the offensive line. So, there are some guys that are backups, Aaron Stinney, Nick Leverett on the interior. We've Gedeke and Wirfs are playing well. I don't see it from the interior line is not good. That's where your issues are. So Nick Leverett played well for you last year. I think he needs to play, maybe left guard, because I saw Filer, who's big, but he's getting knocked off the ball and he's not moving anybody. So I think maybe make some changes in that regard because it ain't working. Division playoff berth is what we're looking for at this season. Absolutely. And you got that all in front of you with this Atlanta game. This Atlanta game is huge. I mean, it would have been great to win this game, against the Detroit Lions team that's among the elite. And you had a chance to win it if you make some plays. But they're not in your division. Okay? They are in the NFC, but they're not in your division. You want to win the division. You're not going to get a wild card probably, so it's winning the division. You got a road win at New Orleans. You got 2 games left with the Panthers. You got 2 games left with the Falcons. You got the Falcons at home this week. This game is huge, huge. And I would much rather win this game than last week. So screw last week. It was a clunker. You learned something. Now go take a game that's right there for you. Bucs Basement says, we saw how god-awful Ryan Neal was in the last game, and yet at the press conference, Todd Bowles didn't hold him accountable, just like Devin White last year. He's not a good head coach. I'm sorry. I can't argue with you. I don't like him going to the podium covering for guys. I just don't like it. The tape is the tape, man. And everybody has access to it now. Everybody has access. The fans are not stupid. And when you go to the podium and you cover for guys, it just makes you look weak. And there's ways to say it. You could say, listen, when somebody says, hey, and we're going to play the press conference in our second hour. Hey, like JTS, hey, chat. And you go up there and you say they played great. You don't have to say they played great. You could say, we need more from them. And they know that. You're not throwing them under the bus, right? But if you say they played great, and I turn on the tape and I'm like, I don't see it.
Yeah.
Then what are you lose the fans in that way. And I think Todd is in danger of doing that. What else? Oh, James says, but if Baker makes one play, just one instead of 3 overthrows, it's a different game. No, that's what I'm saying. Is this was a clunker, but the entire narrative changes if he hits 2 out of 3. The entire narrative changes, right? Oh, the offense isn't that bad, yeah. But still, it doesn't change the fact that you can't run the football and you can't rush the passer, the way you want to.
And let's remember, this is the Detroit Lions.
Right.
You weren't playing Carolina here. You weren't playing New Orleans here. Detroit's really good. So, give a little bit of credit where credit is due. The Bucs may have laid a clunker here, but they faced a really good team doing it.
Oh, this is interesting. We'll have to get into this in our second hour here. Did you see Yankees team president Randy Levine rip on the Rays and Marlins for not putting revenue sharing back into the teams? I did not.
Wow.
But we've talked about it. Oh, what are you talking about, JP? They're putting the money back into the team. It's a low revenue team. Nobody shows up to the game. I know that narrative has been out there forever. It's a false narrative. It's a false narrative. They have plenty of money. They don't put it back into the team. And now you got somebody who looks at the numbers, Randy Levine, who sees all the revenue sharing numbers, the Yankees, okay, and they're saying it out loud. So, yes, we will get. I did not see that. Thank you for making me aware of that. TJC22 is back. Good to see you, my friend. After watching the All-22 tape, boy, the route running all around minus Godwin was awful.
Ooh.
Yep, I noticed that as well.
And that's supposed to be a strength for this team, right? The receivers?
Mike Evans, man.
See on the decline?
Well, he's never been a great route runner.
Or is he just pissed?
If we're being completely honest, sure. He's a catch radius guy, a volume guy. He's a tough motherfucker. He's all those things that make him great and consistent and shows up, but he's never been a superb route runner. And when he gets on the bad side of leverage, sometimes doesn't fight through it. So, the OPIs are just off the charts and they come at bad times. So he needs to be better. And it's like everybody has including the head coach has this, allergy to calling guys out. It's football. You screw up, you're getting called out. You make millions of dollars. You're in the public eye. If it hurts your feelings, I'm sorry. People rip me all the time, and I don't make near the money you guys make. Have some thick skin. If you suck, you suck. So, and he doesn't suck. It's just like if you have a bad game, you have a bad game. It ain't the end of the freaking world. I'm not saying you're a bad human being. I'm not saying you're a terrible player. You had a bad game. Can't we say that? Can't the head coach say that? That's just weird to me.
Yeah.
But and it's like TJC says, we all have the all 22. A lot of us have played football before. We know there's so much information out there. You can learn about the game, and so many of us can see it. I think Todd feels like it's still 1985. Nobody has the tape, and the fans don't know, so I can say whatever I want to up here. I know you think we're all dumb because we look dumb, but we're not. We're not.
Some of us dumber than others.
Yes, exactly. Let me throw this one more up here too. Evans gave up on several routes. Yeah, saw that. You can directly blame Palmer on two overthrows. Why are you streaking? And at the 45, look back and slow down. Yep. There's that's all part of it. And he's a young receiver, and he'll learn that to run through it. So yeah, it's not all on Baker. It's when you have 17 targets to two guys in Palmer and Mike Evans, and you complete six of them or seven of them, that's a terrible, terrible ratio. And it's not all on the quarterback. Those are bad routes. Those are drops. Those are slowing down when you shouldn't slow down. And that's why the great receivers, this is one of the numbers I always look at. Look at the percentage. Look at their catch percentage. Okay, look at Godwin. 7 targets, 6 catches. That's always where he's always at that ratio. Mike Evans is not. And there's a reason for that. Right? Same quarterback, right? Why do you have such a high percentage with one guy and a lower percentage than the other? What's the common denominator in both of these things? The quarterback and then the receiver. So yeah, there's issues there. And it's shown numerically and it's shown on the tape. All right, we'll take
sorry. No, I was gonna say every team's got guys that aren't great route runners, right? There's not very many great route runners in the league. Yeah. But there's a difference between not running a good route and running a bad route, right? Or not running a crisp route and then running a bad route. When you've got multiple players on one team that run flat out bad routes that are just bad route runners, doesn't that go back to coaching?
Yes. Coaching and discipline. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're either coaching it or you're allowing it, right? If it's consistent on the tape. So yeah. And ultimately that's on the coach. All right, let's take a really quick break. When we come back, Scott Reynolds will join us from the Pewter Report. We'll be at the patio on Friday night, 5 to 7 o'clock. You should always be at the patio to be watching all the football games. Great place to watch football, basketball, baseball, whatever you want. Under the stars. The weather's great now. Under the palm trees. 421 South McDill. And we'll be there Friday night for our Friday night football party. Back in 3 with Scott Reynolds. Stay with us.
Sitting around the house. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane, and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
All right. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. As we roll on here, our thanks to the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com. Our great sponsors, along with Bay Area Modern Medical Center. We had Chris Lugo on yesterday. Great information there. Italiano Insurance, the Golden Diamond Source, Extravaganza Productions, and American Mortgage Services. Thanks to all of them. And, of course, the great folks at The Patio. IndyCar Tim with me from Dallas here today, and let's welcome in our good friend, Scott Reynolds of the Pewter Report. What's up, Scotty? How are you, my friend?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Good. Congrats to your Kansas State Wildcats.
Thank
Got
you.
back in it this week.
Yeah.
And my Knowles are heading towards maybe a playoff bid. We'll see. They played better this week, so we shall see.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. So I came out today with the 2 things that I think the Bucs have to work forward to, not only this season, but in seasons past, to get back to the Super Bowl. They've got to find some outside pass rushers that can make a difference. And they've got to fix this running game. Right now, it's either the offensive line, from what I can tell by the All-22 I watched last night, there aren't a whole lot of holes. And when there are some cutback lanes, these running backs aren't seeing them.
No.
And, I would, like you, have been a big Rachaad White fan. It's getting less and less.
Yep. Agreed.
That's what I see. What are your thoughts on those 2 areas?
I think with the outside linebackers, I think you're going to see some sacks from that unit this week. The Bucs historically done pretty well sacking the Falcons. 7 sacks last year, 5 in Tampa, 2 in Atlanta. The Falcons have surrendered 19 sacks this year so far for Desmond Ridder. Holds on to the ball a little too long, throws interceptions. He's not the answer in Atlanta at the quarterback position.
He was terrible this week.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah, so I think you're going to see a sack attack here at Ray J on Sunday. And I think the emergence of Kalijah Kancey is going to be a huge benefactor for those outside linebackers. I thought that Todd Bowles was right. Shaq Barrett played really hard, and I just don't know that he's got that explosive burst off the edge like he had in 2019, in 2020, and 2021, right? I think he's gone from being Simeon Rice to Greg Spires. For us old timers, kind of understand that Spires had some value. He could chip in with some sacks. He did some of the dirty work, right? Very good player, but Simeon Rice was the guy, right? And the problem is they need JTS to be the guy. And he kind of he's showing some signs of life. I don't think he'll ever get to that level. I just want him to get to the level where you could say, okay, yeah, he was a first-round pick. He can get 8 to 10 sacks a season. Maybe make a Pro Bowl a couple times in his career. That would be the level that I think the Bucs would love to see him at. And I don't know if he's going to get there. He's at 3 sacks right now. He needs 1 more to tie his career record. So, we'll see.
But with him, I was saying, I look at these great pass rushers, right?
Yeah.
The ones that are making a difference in the game.
Yes.
Micah Parsons, his power and speed. You look at Khalil Mack, he's an animal.
Yeah. You feel them. Yeah. You feel those guys, right? And you don't feel JTS. JTS runs around. He's athletic, but you don't feel him, and I think that's the special thing. Like, you felt Levante David all day on Sunday. You felt him. Yeah. You feel Kalijah Kancey. Like, you could see the pressures and the hits starting to come. You're like, this guy's going to get a fourth quarter sack, and boom, it happened, right? So I'm with you on that. We'll see. JTS is not a guy that's going to be able to create on his own like Simeon, but you pair him with an inside pass rushing force, and at times that's Vita Vea. When he's singled up, Vita was doubled. So Kalijah Kancey, boom, 6 tackles, couple pressures, tackle for loss, sack. That should be able to help. When it comes to the running game, there was one run in particular, and I forget the down and distance. Forgive me, because I hate to just talk in generalities, but there was a massive hole to the right. Yeah. And it was blocked cleanly to the left. When I say cleanly, Filer had his guy, Wirfs had his guy. I want to say it was Otten on the left side had his guy, and Mike Evans had his guy. So Rachaad White, you can either find the massive hole to the right and get positive yards, or you can try the left, hit the sidelines, and probably get a first down. So left or right, but not middle. And, of course, Rachaad goes middle and tackled for no gain. Yeah. So, in my opinion, yes, the offensive line, they need better talent up front, and they need to do a better job of moving the line of scrimmage and moving bodies. I agree with that. However, that being said, you need a running back that can create on his own, right? Yep. You need running backs that either have the speed to make something out of nothing, or that have the tackle breaking ability to get yards after contact. And right now, the Buccaneers don't have anybody in the room with either one of those two qualities. And that's on Jason Light. And I love Jason's drafting. I give him all the credit in the world. He is one of the best general managers in Tampa Bay. He's actually the best general manager in Bucs history. Sorry, Rich McKay, but Jason's done more and better. And let me rewind for a second here. He's one of the best general managers in the league, not just in Tampa Bay, but in the league. And I think when you look at Light's kryptonite, it's been the running back position. Yep. Charles Sims, Jeremy McNichols, Ronald Jones, Keyshawn Vaughn, and Rachaad White. Those are his draft picks. And it's a little early. I don't want to sit there and be too, have too much recency bias, but Rachaad White was the 4th running back drafted last year. The running backs drafted after him, Brian Robinson in Washington, Dameon Pierce in Houston, Tyler Algier had a 1,000-yard year for the Falcons last year. Jerome Ford had a big game on Sunday against the 49ers for the Browns. Kyron Williams, probably the best of them all statistically with the Rams right now. Isaiah Pacheco, Kansas City, anyone? So he's not done a good job of stocking the running back position. So, yes, you can put anybody behind an offensive line that's just opening up holes, and you and I can run through and get some yards, et cetera. But when that's not happening, you have to have a back that can create on his own. Rachaad White's not that guy. Keyshawn Vaughn certainly isn't that guy. The team doesn't even think Sean Tucker's that guy because he's not seeing the field. That's for sure. And Chase Edmonds may be the only guy that has enough speed and wiggle to do it. He was hurt in the offseason. He was hurt in training camp or in the preseason. He's hurt now. When he gets back, maybe he's a difference maker. Maybe he gets hurt again. I don't know.
So can they go find? I heard Todd say yesterday they're not looking, but all those guys you just mentioned were passed over by a lot of. And I got to believe there's somebody out there. There's somebody at 2nd or 3rd on the depth chart. Yeah, that you can go out there.
There's 2 guys that I've written about that I liked coming out of the draft, and I've liked in the NFL. Rashad Penny signed a 1-year, $1.5 million deal with Philly. He is now buried on the depth chart behind DeAndre Swift, behind Boston Scott, behind Kenneth Gainwell. Right, he is 4th on the. He was a healthy scratch last week.
He played well in that Seattle offense.
5 years in Seattle, knows the system for sure. When he's healthy, the last 2 seasons he's averaged over 6 yards a carry. That sounds pretty good to me, right?
That's 4 carries for our guys.
Right, exactly. So, in my opinion, I think he would be a really good target to get. Yeah. The other guy is Javonte Williams, 2nd-round pick from Denver. Still the starter in Denver right now, but the Broncos are going to have a fire sale, right? Their season's already over, and Sean Payton's going to want those draft picks to restock and reload. Javonte Williams, good back, but Payton has no allegiance to him. He didn't draft him, so I think that those are 2 players that from a salary cap standpoint too, because you have to consider that the Bucs only have $3 million to spend under the cap this year.
Right.
Both of those guys with the remaining games left, because the contracts are paid out on a weekly basis now, but we're in season. They have enough to get either one of those guys. Either one. Javonte Williams is that make you miss, wiggle, tackle breaker, yards after contact guy. Penny is the raw speed, one-cut runner type. Either one of those guys would help this offense.
Was there just no interest, Scott, or was the price just out of whack for Jonathan Taylor when they were trying to unload him?
I mean, the price is out of whack in two respects, Tim. Number one, it's the draft pick compensation that you have to give up. And then number two, you're giving up a first or second round pick, maybe multiple picks to get that guy. Then you have to commit big money to sign him, because that's why he held out in the first place. He wanted the mega contract. And while there is some common sense in paying good players good money, running back is one of those positions. It's a wear and tear position. When Christian McCaffrey is healthy, he's worth every penny. When he gets hurt, he's not. Same with Saquon Barkley. Same with any running back. It's a high impact, high risk injury type position. And when your running back comes out of a game with 100+ yards and a touchdown unscathed, you're happy. But when he's David Montgomery and he falls on the ball and hurts his ribs and he can't help you, then you're like, damn it. So the league is finally caught on, and I'm a running back kind of guy, and it pains me because I grew up in the era with Emmitt Smith and John Riggins before him. I mean, Barry Sanders and all these guys. Yeah, Walter Payton. Yeah, so
Larry Zonka.
Yeah, I love running backs.
Childhood hero.
Yeah, I love running backs, but the league has caught on, and they wised up and said we don't have to pay these guys because only one guy can carry the ball, and there's a lot of guys that can do it. We can get by sometimes. Like Kansas City, they spent a first-round pick on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and Isaiah Pacheco is the guy. He's a seventh-round pick out of Rutgers. So, and the other problem, Tim, when you look at the salary cap, there's only so much pie to go around.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if you're going to pay, if you're going to insert a $11-12 million contract, whatever Taylor got there in Indy, if you're going to insert that into the equation and take out that piece of the pie now, well, whose piece was that? Was that Devin White's? Was that Winfield's? Was that Wirf's? Was that Mike Evans? Was that Baker's? Whose piece of the pie are you taking out to give it to your running back? So that was another issue right there.
Well, and for teams that have a quarterback that takes up 21% of their entire salary cap, that leaves you
talking about Dak.
Thank you, Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. Where's Trey Lance when you need him? That leaves even less space for.
You're right.
There you go. Dak's best friend, Ezekiel Elliott, was cut from the team because he was making so much money.
Right.
And now the Cowboys, they're like, I'm all for Tony Pollard, but he's not an every down back. He never was.
And that's a great point. The other thing I'll say is this, and I think we have to. We got to take the emotion out of it and look at realistically. In the first 5 games of the season, with a new offensive system, new running game, right? New offensive, or I should say revamped offensive line, new offensive coordinator, first-time play caller, new quarterback, new running back. All of this newness. And what have the Buccaneers done in the first 5 weeks of the season? They faced the top 2 rushing defenses in the league in those first 5 games. The Philadelphia Eagles were number 1. Now they're number 2. The Detroit Lions on Sunday were the number 3 rushing defense. They're now number 1. So as it stands, entering week 6 or entering week 7 now, the Lions have the number 1 ranked rushing defense. Eagles are number 2. And so you have to, I don't want to say forgive that because you played them, but you have to take that into consideration and saying our infantile running game, right, just got, you dropped the babies, which you did. You had the infant and you dropped it twice because of that. And it's a little messed up right now because of that. And now we'll have to see against the top 10 rushing defense, the Atlanta Falcons, you should have a better chance of getting 100 yards. You should have more runs, better runs, etc. And I really think this next stretch here against the Falcons, a tight Thursday night game against a not so good, worse than we thought Bills team, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got
gettable.
Yeah, what's after that? You got the Tennessee Titans coming up, as part of that. So there's a stretch here where the Buccaneers should be, I think, at least 3-1, and you can't be worse than 2-2. right? So this is a stretch where I think they're going to have a couple weeks before the trade deadline to see if this running game can materialize at all now that they're not running into the brick walls that were the Lions and the Eagles.
Totally agree on that. And that's the run game. And I think those are some fixes right there that you talked about. I by the way, I would look at putting Nick Leverett in for Filer. If you look at his grades last year, I think he's small. He gets under people. He moves people. At this point, I'm making some changes in the interior.
Filer plays a little too high. He's 6'6". There was a really big pass rush rep where he got rocked right back. I'm kind of with you on that.
Not good either, man. He's not moving anybody. As big as he is, he's getting knocked back into pulling guards and stuff. And Leverett, I would definitely make that change.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. And I'll say this too: like the PFF grades came out, and you have to take them with a grain of salt.
Right.
And, it's like they had Filer as like the second best offensive lineman.
No.
And I'm thinking, what game did you watch? And then I looked at the defensive grades, and I saw that in the bottom 5 of all of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers that played on defense, in the bottom 5 were Kalijah Cansey and Levante David.
Oh my God!
And I'm
what
thinking,
are they looking at?
I'm thinking. Was it cocaine? Was it
they
mushrooms?
Must have had a bad. I think they had a bad roster.
Was
I
it
want some of whatever they're having?
I don't know.
Sounds like a roster issue. It's like 54 and 94.
Yeah, they were pretty
45.
good. Like you felt them, right? They filled up the stat sheet. So
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
I was just looking at the Pewter Report snap count, which I love to look at, and I'm gonna propose that Yaya Diaby at 43% needs to change with Joe Tryon at 73%, and I'm talking, Cam Gill. Every time he gets in the damn
he's
game,
a difference maker, man. He only plays a couple plays, but he has a couple factor plays in there.
He played 23% of the snaps, and Shaq played 64.
Yeah,
I would make right away. And Tim asked this question, and I'll put it to you.
Yeah,
is Todd Bowles doing that? I don't think so. I don't think he's doing that. And
doing what?
Making those changes.
No, he's not.
Giving Gill more reps and giving Yaya, because Yaya, he's got a huge ceiling, as we know.
I agree.
And better than Tryon. It's time. We're building for the future. These young guys are better players, and I don't care about their size. I don't care about their experience or anything like that. And Shaq, God bless him. We love him to death.
Yeah.
But I just don't see the impact.
Sometimes
right
you can do more with less, right?
Yeah.
And I think I'm with you. Like I think they actually have a pretty decent stable. Throw Anthony Nelson, who if he comes back, he gives you quality snaps and plays.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm more in favor of splitting the reps between 4 guys, almost 50-50 across the board for that reason. And the thing is sometimes when you're a starter, you have that mentality of, all right, I'm going to play 50, 55 snaps today, right? And you're 15 snaps in and you're kind of thinking, all right, well, I'll pick it up. It's coming. I'm feeling it. But if you go into a game thinking, I'm going to get 30 snaps, that's it, right? And it's like you're on the sidelines for an entire series and you're not getting subbed back in. You're thinking, holy crap, I got to make something happen the next time I'm out there. Like that sense of urgency, right, is there. Yeah. The other thing, too, is, you're giving me a layup here. This is like a softball. But, man, the quick and easy change is D. Delaney for Ryan Neal.
Yes.
D. Delaney came in and played the entire game for Ryan Neal against New Orleans and was spectacular.
Yeah.
Had an interception, right? This guy, your leading interceptor, it tied for Christian Izien with 2, is D. Delaney. He's your backup defensive back who can play free safety, strong safety, nickel, and outside corner in a pinch. He's Keith Tandy, right? Use him. You're getting more plays. I think he's making more plays than Ryan Neal is. And Ryan Neal, for it's a tough assignment, right? When you're tracking the first round draft pick, the speedster across the field, but your hand is right there. You have to decide: am I going to be a player and a playmaker, or a jag, which is just a guy?
Right.
And Ryan Neal right now through 5 games has been just a guy. And he had the PFF grades. He was the top graded safety from PFF last year. At the same time, guys, we got to look at this.
D. Delaney didn't play a snap.
No, he didn't. But the Seattle Seahawks last year, they made a move for Julian Love from the Giants, and they rescinded the restricted free agent offer to Ryan Neal. Well, if Ryan Neal was that good, they wouldn't have done that, right?
Exactly.
So I don't know. I'm losing faith that Ryan Neal is anything other than a fluke last year, and it looks like that's what it was.
Yeah, this just in. Teams don't let go of good players, and
right.
Say what you want about Pete Carroll. He knows a little something about the defensive backs and defense.
No doubt.
They're not going to let a guy walk like that. That's so great, and we put all that on the PFF grade, and we said what those grades were like for the Buccaneers. So sometimes they're good. When we agree with them, they're good. When we disagree with them, they're bad. Right? When you turn on the tape, like I trust your tape knowledge. I hope you trust mine. And
for sure.
And there's guys that you just stick out like a sore thumb, good or bad.
I didn't even write about it, but I was thinking that too. It's like, like I remember there's like 3 or 4 plays where Filer gets blown up, and then it's like, okay, you take some losses. Where are your wins? Right. That's
exactly.
The thing.
Where show me
where is it even
on that tape where he's even in a double team, a bounce block, even if where is he moving off to the second level? Where's he ever getting to the second level?
Exactly. Yeah. You know what? Hey, let's spend 10 seconds and give Luke Gedeke a ton of praise.
Yes.
Jason Light has found 2 offensive tackles, not just Tristan Wirfs, who can play left or right tackle at a Pro Bowl level. Although Tristan did not have a great game, to be honest. He did a good job against Aiden Hutchinson. That was not Tristan's best tape. It was good, but it wasn't the all-pro level that he can play at. But Luke Gedeke, I'm sold. Yeah. He's a right tackle. He's really good.
Yeah.
I'm curious as to where his ceiling is now, right? Is he going to be a DeMar Dotson type where it's like 10 years, steady Eddie,
I'll take it.
More good than bad? Absolutely, you take it. But this kid is super strong. He literally is the strongest Tristan Wirfs. That's not just coming from Luke. That's coming from Tristan. Okay, he's Luke the lifter.
He's a big boy.
Aiden Hutchinson, Cameron Jordan, Daniil Hunter gave up 1 sack. Baker backed into it, right? Hassan Reddick, bring it on. I want to see Luke Gedeke. Where's his ceiling? Is it the Pro Bowl? I'm not going to say it's not.
No, he's playing really well. And then this just makes you question the coaching staff. Why the hell you move him to left guard last year? And again, why is Filer still there? Why? They have against
you had Donovan Smith at left tackle, right? And you had Tristan Wirfs at right tackle.
Right.
So
I get that. Yeah. No.
They had to find a spot for him. So
but
he's second rounder.
Yeah, moving him. I don't know. I
would say this: the more natural move would have been to put him at right guard and move Shaq Mason to left guard. That would have been the more natural.
Move the experienced guy because it's the right hand, left hand thing. That's a thing. That's a thing. That's a punch thing. It's a leg thing. It's a hip thing. It's all reversed. And for an offensive lineman. So now I look at Filer and I'm like, okay, you're blowing it again. Get him out of there. I don't need to see any more tape. He's not that good. Yeah. He wasn't rated good last year. Again, they let him go for a reason. He's not that good. Get him the hell out of it.
Was good at left guard. It wasn't great, but he was good.
Yeah, and if you're not getting the results, why not change? And then when you see Todd at the podium covering up for guys that aren't playing well. Yeah, it's okay to say that JTS had a bad game.
He's not Bruce Arians. He's not going to throw his guys under the bus.
You don't have to throw them under the bus, Scott. But you can't say they play.
You have to acknowledge that they can play better. Yes. I don't think there's any harm in that.
Can he not come to the podium and go, listen, we all need to be better, but Joe knows that he needs to get more pressure. Why can't you say that? Why do you say he played great?
I agree. Yeah.
Man. Hey, last thing. I don't know if you want to weigh in on this, but the fans are going bananas about once again, Lions fans taking over the stadium.
Yep.
I talked to Brian Ford about this in the past, and I know there was an effort, I think a couple years ago, to start tracking, which fans are selling their tickets. But it's hard to do, man. It's hard to do. And you don't know if they're selling them to. You don't know if you're selling them to Lions fans, right? If you're putting them on Ticketmaster, you don't know.
That's right.
Yeah. So I know they do some zip code stuff and seeing like that.
Yeah, but it's supply and demand. And JP, I got a hard out here at 11. I got to let you go, but I'll just say this. I'm a capitalist. I understand the market, right? I'm all for that. At the same time, this didn't happen when Tom Brady was here, right? So if the product is great, fans won't sell their tickets and they'll go. And I'll just say that. And it's up to this team to make their team great again.
All right. Give me a promotion of where you're at and what's going on.
PewterReport.com, the mothership. Check out all of our content as we come into a big week against the division rival Atlanta Falcons. This is a big week, folks.
Gotta have this.
Yep. Make sure that you're checking out our YouTube page, Pewter Report TV. We have our new Pewter Report podcast tomorrow at 4 o'clock. live. You can catch all of our content there, plus my Pewter Pulse videos. And you can also follow us on X, Facebook, and Instagram at Pewter Report.
Thanks, Scotty. Great stuff as always.
Appreciate it,
Much
guys.
appreciated.
Thank you.
That's the best in the business right there. Pewter Report and Scott Reynolds. All right, we will take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. TJ Rives is going to join us. We're brought to you by the Patio, the Jeeves Law Group, and all the great folks at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. We'll be at the Patio Friday night from 5 to 7 o'clock. You should be there every night for watching football, baseball, hockey. Watch some Lightning there tonight. We'll talk some Bolts as well in the second half of the show. Stay with us. Quick break.
Old coins sitting around the house. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show on this Super Tuesday with our super guest, Scott Reynolds, knocked it out of the park. Tim Ham is joining me from our Dallas affiliate, DSP Media. Lots going on in Dallas. And, of course, my man, TJ Rives, Bucs sideline guy, joining us here. What's up, TJ? How are you, my friend?
Always good to be with you, my friend. A couple of days after the creamsicle stuff. Did you officially light that stuff on fire after the show? It seemed you were headed that way with Nick. I watched the beginning of the show.
There's a heavy flame retardant on that stuff. I tried.
I didn't know if lighter fluid was going to be used.
We went to the blowtorch, still didn't work, man. That stuff is like, you can't kill it. You can't kill it.
I have talked to more than one, more than a few, more than a dozen, let's say in the last 48 hours that have said, I'm good. I'm good. I see that. I'm good, because they lost for so long in those. They can't win when they put them on, no matter the coaching staff. When you go back to Raheem Morris, you go to Greg Schiano, couldn't win in the orange, and now you go to Todd Bowles and you couldn't win in the orange, and you look like the old Buccaneers with that. So I understand from a marketing standpoint why you're doing this. Great. You want to sell jerseys. The stadium was mostly orange, some Lions blue. It was cool. Yeah. I mean, I will testify. I know you just had Scott on down there at field level, and you were up in the box at the beginning of that game. It had a playoff feel.
Yeah, and it really did.
Can I just share with you on the JP Peterson show? It might be a playoff matchup. If things go well still for the Buccaneers and you get in, you might see that team again. And you never know. You might see them again in late January, early February at Raymond James Stadium. Well, late January for the playoffs. You might
rather not see all their fans, though. I'd rather.
Well, I mean, but there's two
Buck
things
fans
about
have
that.
something to say about that.
There's two things about that. The first thing is I'm cracking up because the national media is like, oh, look at all the Lions fans. How does that happen with the stadium? Tim, I'm singing your song. Did you see the Rams Cowboys game last night?
God,
there had to be 30,000 Cowboy fans at SoFi Stadium.
They've always traveled well, though. They've always traveled well for the Chargers.
Here's the other thing. Everybody that comes into SoFi with a fan base takes the stadium over.
Exactly.
Wait till when the 49ers play the Rams and half the stadium is 49er red, like it's been the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
The Steelers came into Las Vegas, and it was literally 25 or 30,000 Steeler fans. This is not uncommon.
Lions fans did it in Green Bay, too.
But back to our area. You cannot convince me. We've lived here forever. I've lived here 40 years. JP, you're going on what, 30 years in the market?
Yeah.
Most of those people in the Lions stuff live here. Most of them root for the Buccaneers and the Rays and the Lightnings, except when they're playing the Lions, the Tigers, and the Red Wings. Most of what you saw was not people traveling here from Detroit. Most of what you saw are transplanted, moved here from the Midwest. Right. Detroit people, Michigan people, retirees.
And they're coming up from Miami, Vero Beach. They're coming from everywhere.
I don't even know how, maybe
down here.
I'm telling you, of that 15 or 20,000 that was in there, 10,000 of it, they live here.
We get that in Dallas, too. There's a lot of transplants here in Dallas. We get a lot of that, too.
So anyway, great atmosphere. And the Lions came to play, and the Buccaneers just didn't match it. They did not match it, and they'll be the first ones to admit they left plays out there that they didn't make. The Lions made plays that the Bucs didn't make. And Detroit is no joke. Obviously, they went to Kansas City and won. They went to Green Bay and won, and now they've come here. And I think it is a fair argument that they're right in the mix with Philadelphia or San Francisco as the best team in the NFC. You saw it on Sunday, and if you don't play well, you aren't going to beat the best teams.
You're going to bite your kneecap off. Well, take us down on the field before the game. I wasn't privileged enough to be down there, but you in your Dave Moore creamsicle jersey was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And your Leroy Selman signed hat with the soiled inside brim that you showed.
Yes, 33-year-old hat. And I'm going to pull up a picture here just to show the audience because this is what we do. Yes. Here is the Dave Moore jersey prior to the game.
Love it.
Front and back. There I am with the legend Gene Deckerhoff and the hat.
You had the best picture of the day, though. Where's my phone?
You got to show me that with you, me, and Rondé. And so the hat is a cursive Tampa Bay Buccaneers orange hat that I literally got, I believe, in 1990. Sam Weich. That is a 33-year-old hat that I've kept. And Leroy signed it. And he didn't put the late Leroy Selman. He didn't put the HOF 95 that he always put after he went into the Hall of Fame in 1995. So as I said, being the great detective that I am, JP Peterson and IndyCar Tim, that means he signed it before 1994. So there I am in the hat, angle it a little more to your right.
Yeah.
Squeeze in a little more too closer and you'll see the hat. Rondé's there. Now pull it back a little bit. And there we are with Rondé.
Yep.
So that we were trying to get the mojo going with the orange and the hats and the jerseys and the fans and the bucket hats they gave out with the Buccaneer logo and the flags were up and the Bucko Bruce helmet was at midfield. But as you mentioned, there it is. There's the bucket hat. But as you mentioned, maybe it was the orange mojo that we always saw from 1983 to 1996, the bad Buccaneer mojo.
Yeah. This is a call out to any optometrist or vision person or whatever, or color expert. I have a theory that the depth perception with those creamsicle jerseys is an issue.
I heard you bring this up. I heard you bring this up with Nick. I think
with the white it's so bright. It's got this bright that it just kind of reflects, and you can't really get a feel for how far down the field the players are. You're not out of line. You're not out of line, because the thing I thought of when you brought it up with Nick yesterday is you remember Vinny Testaverde. How can we forget? And Vinny went for 2 or 3 years before he told anybody. The Bucs didn't know this in their diligence from the University of Miami days and otherwise. I'm colorblind. And when you are colorblind, optometrists will tell you this. What do you have trouble distinguishing between green and orange is a problem. Yeah. So now you know why the Buccaneers under Ray Perkins for 2 or 3 years only kept wearing white at home, because Vinny had told them privately, I can't tell Bruce Hill from the 40-yard line when I go to throw the ball. He blends right in like a chroma key, like he's a weatherman doing the temperature on Channel 8, like he's Steve Jervey. Bruce Hill looks like the green screen when I go Mark Carrier, I go to throw the ball down the field. So that's why they wore white all the time. And
so
who does this remind you of?
You're exactly with Jameis with that. But
Jameis takes 5 years to get LASIK. 5 years to get LASIK.
And the thing is, we were told all along at Florida State and with the Buccaneers, it's not a problem. He could see, he could do whatever down the field, and now you begin to understand some of this.
Come on, that's the stupidest thing ever.
But you were on to something with the whole green-orange thing. Yeah. Now, I will say this. There are plenty of quarterbacks that played at Miami in the Orange Bowl, on the green grass, and they always rocked and rolled.
Creamsicle's different, though. It's a lighter color, and it blends. I want some optometrists
Tim,
to give me some.
The show is off the rails. We've gone down the road of the hue of the orange, the color of the orange being too light.
Baker Mayfield cannot be that good for so long and then put on that jersey and be so freaking bad. That's why Brady never wore the orange. That's why Brady said, I ain't wearing that shit.
Are you saying that when Baker unloaded that ball to Trey Palmer right out of the timeout on first down, bomb down the middle of the field, that he could not tell Trey from the 20-yard line on the green field?
The depth perception. It's right. You let a ball go based on where a guy is, and you innately throw it to lead him into the ball. And if your depth perception is a little bit off, because all you see is this bright sunshine creamsicle streaking down the field, then you don't have good a depth.
We're on to the official name of the color, is it? Isn't it like Bay Orange or Tampa Orange or something?
Right.
No,
should be toilet orange. Should be toilet orange at this point with the way that the team has played for so long.
Look, I'm not going to lie and say I didn't get nostalgic, right? I've never been a Bucs fan, but dude, I miss the orange of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I miss the baby blue of the Houston Oilers.
Oh my God, I love both of it. But again, I brought this up on the Nothing But Bucs podcast, plug number 1 there that you can go hear. My youth in the 80s is old Tampa Stadium with the Buccaneers in the orange, and the problem is they were awful. So then you suddenly get like battered child syndrome. You suddenly get defensive. Because it was just bad football for so long. So they've been trying to bring it back. I understand they want to market it. They sold thousands of jerseys and shirts, and there were tens of thousands of people wearing them all over the area and in the stadium on Sunday. So mission accomplished there. But, man. So in any event, you're frustrated by what happened, but you've got to put it behind you. You cannot do anything to change that. You can't let it beat you twice. Let's hope Baker is healthy. As you pointed out, he took a couple of big licks at the end of that game. Let's see what his practice status is for this week. You've got the Falcons coming in who are very beatable. And if you go take care of business in that game, I don't care if it's ugly, you're 4-2. You're fine. You have me here for optimism on a Tuesday. Everybody get off the figurative ledges, because if you beat Atlanta and you're 4-2, you're fine in the division and in the playoff hunt.
And you much rather have the win this week than last week. I said that in the first hour. This is a divisional game. Your focus is on winning the division. You're not going to make a wild card.
I just don't think that's
I don't know.
you could.
Nine could get you in as the last wild card because now they take 3 wild cards.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
You could,
that's
nine
true.
could get you in a tiebreaker maybe, but 9 probably wins the bad NFC South.
Yeah.
Anybody see the Saints Sunday in Houston in your part of the world, Tim? Anybody see the Falcons at home with the Commanders?
Really bad.
Carolina can't play at all. How they got up on Miami 14-0 in the first place, I don't know, but they can't play. I mean, it's so, and you have 5 games remaining, 3 of them at home with Saints, Falcons, and Panthers starting this week. Just take advantage of those. Get me, as I keep saying to you, and we will keep saying this, get me to 7 or 8 wins in late December and January, and you're right there to win the division and make the playoffs. That should be
you got goal. Carolina. Is that on the road, or with the last 2 of the last 3 games are Carolina?
Or Carolina. That's correct.
So you get there with you get the
New
8
Year's
wins.
Eve. New Year's Eve is here with Carolina. I know that. You play Jacksonville here Christmas Eve. You play Carolina here New Year's Eve.
It's the Saints there New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And then at Carolina on January 7th.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah. So, you end the season at Carolina, game you got to win. If you can't go to Carolina when they're trying to secure the first overall pick.
You may be in a position, let's don't get greedy, but you may be in a position just like last year where you clinched basically before the final game with Atlanta. You beat Carolina at home, and the final game was a preseason game because it did not mean anything for playoff seeding. You had clinched the division. You may be in that position again with an 8th or a 9th win where you put it away.
And maybe we'll let Kyle Trask play that game.
I don't know.
Instead of not.
Stay tuned. But one other thing.
Kyle Trask might be playing this week.
I don't know.
You mentioned about Baker, and he took a couple of shots on his throwing hand and his non-throwing hand. And I know I saw him coming out of the X-ray machine place after
right under the bowels.
After as we were going into the press conference, he was coming out still in full uniform. So I guess he went to get the X-rays there and was coming back in. So they said X-rays were negative. But and it's his non-throwing hand, but he also had a nice slice on his throwing hand as well, which may have affected his accuracy in the game. So, he's beat up. He's beat up a little bit right now. He took a lot of shots. So if it is Kyle Trask this week, that'll be interesting.
Now I got to take issue with you. You know I love you.
Please.
You guys are banging on my guy Rashad White yesterday for some of this, and I will be, and I didn't get to hear earlier.
Yeah.
I will be the first one to say he has at times been hesitant to hit the hole or whatever. Sunday, I did not perceive that, and I've watched some of the game tape. There were not holes there.
No, there's not a lot of holes.
Okay. Now, you go back to the New Orleans game. He averaged almost 4 yards a carry, and he was ripping some runs through the middle against New Orleans. There is some hope that this week against Atlanta that you can get him going, some confidence, get him in space, and get him the ball.
We're upset because the top-ranked and second-ranked run defenses shut this team down. Should we be, Detroit has the second best run defense in the league. You weren't going to get a lot anyway, but you turn on the tape, though, it's just a little bit disappointing that they can't make enough room for these guys to run. And at some point, you got to say, is it the backs as well? So
that's fair.
I'm a big Rashad White fan. I thought he was going to have a big year. I just haven't seen it yet.
And to be fair, he played well in the Superdome for what it's worth in the middle game in between Philadelphia and Detroit, but you bring up a great argument. If you go into this game with Atlanta and you can't run the ball, then real concerns have to start coming up that we're looking at 2020 all over again, where you couldn't run the ball. By the way, did you see on the JP Peterson show, your FanStream JP, who's working out for the Buffalo Bills? He worked out yesterday. I've not seen anything they signed him. Have you seen who worked out for the Buffalo Bills?
Fat Lenny?
Leonard Fournette. And so the Bills are in need. They have a couple of injuries. Might Leonard Fournette be on the roster when we arrive in Buffalo after the Falcon game?
I hope so, because we can use one of those sand timers to get him to the line of scrimmage. Dude is slow to the line of scrimmage.
Are you going to take a two-handed swing at me after I leave? You're taking two-handed swings everywhere. He's playoff Lenny. He's Lombardi Lenny.
2021, bro. It's a long time ago.
2021 Lenny, we love.
Yeah.
We
love
Lenny.
And I have both put on weight since then. So, I mean, it's been a few years. Look, he was slow last year. He was slow to the line last year. I mean, dreadfully slow. But his 3.4 yards a carry right now looks like Barry Sanders compared to what we're doing.
I agree. All right, so let's see if they make that move. I just looked a few minutes ago and I haven't seen anything new on whether they signed him or not. But again, that's potentially Leonard Fournette against his old team on Thursday Night Football 9 days from now. Who knows with the Bills? And by the way, the Bills on Sunday night. Did you see some of that with the Giants?
Not great.
The Bills are
great.
gettable.
Yeah.
I mean, get Atlanta first, but to think that the Bills are invincible. Did you watch them in England? I'm saying to the audience, did you watch them against Jacksonville?
Not great.
The Bills, something's going on there with allowing teams to hang in the game. Josh Allen looks mortal at times.
He's got Dak Prescott syndrome.
Yeah, and they can't run the ball. Sound familiar, Buccaneer fans?
Yeah.
So it puts a lot of pressure on him. They couldn't convert third downs in that game with the Giants.
Yep.
And we talk about bad calls, and there were some bad calls in the Buccaneers game. My God, they are still screaming. You saw the final play of the game, right, JP, where they're trying to get the ball to Darren Waller in the end zone.
Oh, my God.
And the Bills guys got two handfuls of the jersey inside, and there's no flag.
And he can't even reach his arm up. He's being pulled on to use two hands. And I got these defensive guys on Get Up saying, "Oh, that's not interference." Rex Ryan's like, "Oh no, this is a good defense."
I can't move my left arm to catch the ball.
Yeah, how does that call not get made?
And it's the final play of the game. There's going to be an untimed down on the 1 yard line for the win.
Right.
So they have lost their minds for 36 hours in New York after that play Sunday night.
They should be.
Because the Giants with Tyrod Taylor can't get it done.
What about the last, Tim? We didn't hit this yet, but what about the last 5 seconds of the Cowboys half last night? What the hell happened there?
A mess.
I'm going to get into that on the other side here because I've got an opinion.
And by the way, here we go again with the Chargers and the fourth down plays and just absolute. Are you trying to get yourself fired? Are you going analytics against the universe and just going to damn the consequences and get yourself fired if you're Brandon Staley? You wonder. And the Cowboys benefited from it.
Yeah,
there was some, and then there was the bad call in the game that you were talking about last night, where the Cowboy got pushed into the other Cowboy for the fumble. Yeah. And they originally called it on the field as illegal touching by the Chargers. They overturned it on replay. So the officiating has been questionable. It's had some issues.
In the Bucs game, and maybe you can give me some insight because you're down there, what were they discussing every time they dropped the flag? The grocery list, stocks?
I don't know if they were planning on
Taylor Swift. What exactly were they discussing every time they dropped the flag?
Ybor City after the game. I don't know what the discussion
Jesus Christ,
was.
Make the call.
When the guy, so on the play to Mike Evans, that's on the far side of the field. They throw that flag. They discuss that.
OPI.
It was like in committee in Congress. They discussed that, and then they left it intact as offensive pass interference. Yeah. Okay, so then
obvious call.
The next play on 3rd and 11 from the 18 is right in front of me. Evans is doing the out route.
Right.
And I can almost touch him like I can almost touch you on the video screen. Mm-hmm. And I can see out of the corner of my eye, Trey Palmer is caught up with the guy at the goal line behind the play. And that's where the flag comes out. So that guy's on the goal line over here.
Tackling
and
Trey
he
Palmer.
Comes up to consult with the guy that's back at the line of scrimmage.
Right.
And my point with that is, what could the guy up at the 18-yard line have possibly seen to help you down at the goal line? It's your call.
Yeah.
Throw it, stick by it.
What was he throwing interference?
I don't know if he was throwing offensive interference again, but I thought that Trey Palmer was being interfered with down by the goal. Just on the quick glance that he was being messed with, held, and that's what the flag was about. But still, the premise is the same. What is that guy up at the line of scrimmage? Why don't we go ask somebody up in the 300 section at Raymond James Stadium what they saw down at the goal line while we're just getting opinions and being in committee? And it was just indecisive and way too long to make the call, because what you're saying to people is either one, we don't know what we're doing, or worse, we don't have the courage to stand by what the flag is, and or New York may be telling us, pick that flag up or make this different call or whatever. You got the Big Brother command center that's getting in on plays. We don't know. I don't know. It's not supposed to happen that way. No. But right now in the command center, they're radioing down to the referee and telling them it's not a catch, call it incomplete, or it is a catch, call it complete. They're telling them that.
Yeah.
To speed the game along, they're telling them. They're telling them.
I hate the fact that there's New York's got to be in the earpiece of these guys.
I know. It makes them gun shy. It makes them gun shy. It absolutely does. So I don't have an explanation for you on that. I know you got to be better on third down. You got to be better on third down. You did not sustain drives over and over again. You're dropping balls. Baker Mayfield missed a couple of passes. One of them wasn't on a third down. It was a first down play. But the long third down, it's 3rd and 2 in the fourth quarter. It is still a 17-6 game, I think, with a ton of time left.
Yeah.
And he tried to drop it into Trey Palmer, who's behind the defender. He took the shot all the way down the field. I'm going, where's Cade Otton or where's Chris Godwin 5 yards off the line? Get the first down.
Yeah.
Get the first down. So, and I know there's a lot of discussion.
Leading up to the last drive, because I had Godwin 5.5 catches over. He had 3 catches going into that last drive.
Right.
And I'm like, how do you, and four targets, how do you have 30-some top pass plays and you've targeted Chris Godwin four times. And you've you targeted Trey Palmer 7.
Right.
I mean, it's not like every time Godwin gets a target, he's open. He's either open or he's making a combat catch every single time. 7 targets, 6 catches. 17 targets for Evans and Palmer, 6 catches. I mean, that's not very much efficiency. And I don't know if they're, the defense is forcing you to throw that way.
Maybe.
But, I got to target Godwin.
Well, let's see if they feature him a little bit more, and especially with the fact that, Atlanta's going to try to double Mike Evans and take him away as a division opponent. We'll find out. But the good news is, let's see how healthy Baker is, and it's right in front of you to take care of business Sunday. At home, going to be a little hotter. You'll have the Falcons in the dark jerseys. Let's see if you can't get some mojo going. One thing you brought up, it's very valid. We talked on the field after the game on your post-game show with Peter on the Sports Web. We talked about it privately off the air. You got to generate some pass rush without the blitz from the outside. You're right on with Shaq Barrett and JTS and Yaya Diaby. Anthony Nelson Cam Gill, Anthony Nelson was in concussion protocol, couldn't play in the game. But you've got to generate some kind of outside pass rush without the blitz. You've got to, starting this week. I mean, I know the Lions did a good job, but Jared Goff's got reservations for Ocean Prime standing back there. And that's why he's 31 of 44 for 353 yards. They didn't hit him nearly enough. They didn't get to him without the blitz Sunday. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. I don't think Shaq Barrett was 100%. I don't think he was close to 100% because of the illness.
He had a flu, I think.
Let's see. Let's see if it's better with some outside rush and putting pressure on, because when this defense clicked for Todd Bowles in the Super Bowl year, a lot of it, again, was the pressure from Shaq Barrett, the pressure from the outside. Get the push up the middle, get the pressure from the outside, and make plays. And let's see if some of that resumes. You're right on it. You've got to be better in 3 or 4 areas for this Falcon game coming Sunday.
You watching your Lightning tonight? Take on the Sabres on ESPN.
I get to see it on ESPN. I don't get to see the games due to Hulu on Bally Sports. So I look forward to seeing that. Just allay my fears here. You're closer to it than I am. What's going on with the goaltender? Is this? I know the kid's
coming back, but right now
the kid played the Ottawa game, who never played an NHL game. But Johansson, the backup goalie, has he got the goods here, or are we gonna be in 5-4, 6-5 shootouts from here on out? Right now,
I don't know if he does. The coaches love him. They think he's going to get better, but the defense has to play better. We're giving up too many quality chances in front of them. We're going through a little bit of a system shift on defense, so I think we'll be better. We started 1-3 last year, so I'm not going to push the panic button just yet. We got 6 games at home after this road trip, I think, in a row, 5 or 6 games at home.
We'll take that.
And with some space in between, so they'll be able to practice and start getting this system down a little bit. With too much talent on this defense, and I think the players that we traded out, like that school bus line, and we were slow and old. These players are faster. They're better on the forecheck. I think we can get better puck possession at home, so we should be able to handle that. So let's give it a little bit. There's a lot of transition going on, and I think they'll be fine. I think
more than one person has pointed out Vasilevsky was masking some of those defensive efficiencies the last 2 or 3 years because he's brilliant.
Absolutely.
And so if you don't have a guy back there that's brilliant, a guy that's good, NHL good, but not brilliant, he's not going to be able to mask everything, because I guess I did not get to see it, but in the Red Wings game, a couple of people said to me that could have been 7 or 8 goals for Detroit, and he made 2 or 3 tremendous saves on defensive blunders and problems where he made the stop. So
defensive blunders have been a problem the last few years, and Vasi masked that. But it's interesting, when Brian Elliott played, our defense was much tighter. So there's like this attitude when Vassy plays that, you know what, I can, jump into the play a little bit more if I'm a defenseman, or if I'm an offensive player, stay in the offensive zone, maybe, try to get 1 or 2 steals, and then you're chasing it a little bit. Suddenly it's an odd man rush. So I think, as Cooper's always preached to these guys, defense first. Let's see, give me a couple weeks into the season before we start saying, okay, this is an issue. But right now, I'm not going to panic.
One thing is, I got to jump in a second. I know you do too. What's up with the captain? Is Stamkos significantly hurt?
He's playing well. No,
what's the
fine.
issue? There was something about the Ottawa game where he left the game for a little while, or what happened? We don't know.
I think he's fine. Just a little nick here, but I haven't heard anything significant on him, so we should be.
That's
fine.
good. And look, they're scoring.
Yeah.
They're scoring early on in the year. They look rested. Something they haven't had the last 3 years, which is an off season.
Yeah.
Not by choice, but they got an off season to get rested up and fueled up. And it's a long, long year. It's a good point you make. You want to be putting it together in January and February. So
before you go, TJ, I felt left out earlier in your visit. You guys showing pictures and everything. I had to show one of mine, one of my favorite drinking buddies who still has a house here in Dallas. You might recognize him. This is pre-beard Tim, by the way.
Wow. That is the Sean Payton.
It is.
Wow.
It's my boy.
Right now, he's got a help wanted sign around his neck instead of that credential.
I told him I couldn't play running back.
Look at you clean shaven, and look at Sean Payton, a little slender Sean Payton. He's aged about 5 years already in Denver, if you watch that. So
yeah, that was from about 10 years ago when we first met.
Fair. So, and he was the offensive coordinator for Parcells in Dallas. That's the time that he would have been in and around before the Saints. This is 20 years ago. He was there
when he brought Romo in.
There you go. Yes, that connection. But they're struggling in Denver. Buccaneer fans, you could be Bronco fan with an aging Russell Wilson who looks older by the series, if not by the game right now, and Sean Payton can't figure it out. Good luck.
He will as soon as he cuts Russell Wilson, which is what's going to happen.
Ooh,
wow!
Can you imagine
Wilson's
if they do?
Yeah,
but they take like an $80 million cap hit if they release him.
Yeah, they
like
can't.
$80 million.
That was the worst deal ever.
That contract was signed under the old ownership group too. That's not the current Walmart owners. That was the old group.
That was the worst deal ever. What they gave up for him. Oh my God, ridiculous. All right, TJ.
We'll see.
Nothing But Bucs podcast. Go check that out on all of your podcast plays. Great stuff. You get the calls.
You get what few
TJ's
highlights.
analysis.
You get what few highlights there were. You'll hear from Baker Mayfield. You'll hear from Levante David. You'll hear from Rashad White, Todd Bowles, all on the Nothing But Bucs podcast. It's there the day after games. Full recap of everything with Gene's highlight calls. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And let's see what happens with the Falcons coming on Sunday, brother.
It's big game. That's the big game. Thanks, buddy. TJ Reeves right there. I appreciate you, bud. We are going to take a break, and I'll say thanks to our great sponsors, the Jeeves Law Group, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Italiano Insurance, Golden Diamond Source, Extravaganza Productions, and American Mortgage Services. Italiano Insurance, guys, get your insurance shop, your homeowners insurance, your auto insurance. They saved me $1,000. Your homeowners insurance, there's new people coming into the game. They may be trying to get new customers, so let them do all the work and shop it around. 813-877-7799. All right, back in 3, we're going to talk some college football. We'll hear from Todd Bowles. Much more ahead here on the JP Peterson Show. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware.
The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't. So check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
You're still on mute, JP.
There we go, dumbass. Tally had something to say, so I had to mute that coming out the back end, I think. Welcome into our Tuesday show here. IndyCar Tim from our Dallas affiliate is here joining us as well. It might be a good time for you to promote some of the other shows on the FanStream Sports Network, my friend, if people want to check them out.
Absolutely. You can hear some of the live programming we've got here at fanstreamsports.com and on the FanStream Sports app. The Colby Sapp and IndyCar Tim show, my personal favorite, other than the JP show.
Oh, that's a good show.
Heard live Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 o'clock Central. That's 8 p.m. Eastern. For those of you that don't know, it's a 2-hour show. Also, you can hear From the Rough, our weekly golf show with me and PGA Pro John Gerber, who is a handicapper, and he knows all your bets and picks. That's usually Mondays and Wednesdays at 5 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Eastern live. And, of course, all the shows can be heard on fanstreamsports.com and the backlog of catalog shows, JP's shows there, our shows there, all of our great daily blitzes. We've got the Buckeyes Daily Blitz. We're looking, by the way, for some Florida sports daily blitzes, if anybody knows anything about those sports. And those are just little 10-minute daily shows that talk about your favorite team, pro or college, and gives you one topic every day, something controversial and fun to talk about. So
like
lots
that.
of good stuff at FanStream Sports.
Yeah, check it all out, folks. We appreciate you. You can always go to our link tree too, by the way, which you can find on our Facebook, our YouTube, and our Twitter, and donate to the program. If you want to contribute to what we're doing here to keep it going, because, folks, it does take money to pay my exorbitant salary.
That's the truth.
No. That's not the truth.
I had to sell my car.
We're trying here, folks. The independent voices of your fandom. We are not corporate media, so we don't have any of those constraints, and that's why we try to keep it real here. And we're going to get into some of the Rays stuff here in a little bit as well. But Tim, I want to get your take on what the hell happened last night before the half in the Dallas game. Take us through that.
So the Cowboys got the ball right before the half, JP. Trying to pull my notes up here that I had. With less than a minute to go, and we're thinking, Cowboys have a perfect chance to come down and score right before the half, and they haven't been playing very well. Neither offense is playing very well. Dak wasn't playing particularly well, except for that his 18-yard touchdown run, the longest of his career in the NFL. And I don't know that means he's getting back on track to being a running quarterback. I don't think that's going to happen. But so anyway, the Cowboys get down on the Chargers end of the field. You've got about 20 seconds left. They're at the 47. Dak hits a long outside pass to the sideline. Pollard catches it, goes out of bounds with 8 ticks on the clock. At the 17, they're in the red zone. So the clock operator, assuming, like the rest of the country is, a timeout by the Cowboys, which they have, because once you go out of bounds, if you're not going forward out of bounds, they continue to run the clock. That's a new rule. By the way, I hate it. I think it's stupid. It's ridiculous. The clock operator stops the clock. Mike McCarthy never called a timeout.
Yeah.
So they place the ball, and then at 3 seconds it stops. Well, apparently what had happened, the referee asked McCarthy, do you want to stop the clock? He said, no, let it run. So they let it run. They let 5 seconds run off the clock, and this was a big mystery for those of you that watched the game. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman talked about it right at the half. And what had happened was McCarthy didn't want the 5 seconds. He was ready to just kick the field goal and go into halftime. You're on the 17 with 8 seconds. That's enough for a shot, JP, into the end zone. Everybody knows that's a shot.
Absolutely, it's enough for a shot. It might be enough for 2.
In a close game where points are at a premium and field position is at a premium, he decides we're just going to take the points, let the 5 seconds run off the clock, go into halftime, and we're good. Here's why I think that is. All right, now this is just me. This has not been reported by anybody. Dak's not playing very well this year, right? His interception totals are down, but it's because he's not throwing the ball down the field very much right now, unless he has to.
Right.
You have 3 options in this situation that can happen. 3 things that can happen. An incomplete pass, in which case you kick the field goal anyway, right? But you took a shot.
Right.
A touchdown, boom, great, mission accomplished. Or the third thing, and what I would say probably the more likely scenario, is an interception in the end zone, and you don't get any of it.
Right.
I think McCarthy doesn't trust Dak for that scenario in that situation.
I don't see how you can look at it in any other way.
To make a good play.
Ask yourself, which teams are letting that happen? Teams with bad quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You think Staley's letting that happen with Justin Herbert and that arm? No. You think the Bills are doing that? No.
Nope.
No. You think the Chiefs are doing that?
Nope.
No.
They probably had 3 shots in 8 seconds.
Exactly. Because they trust their quarterback.
Yeah.
And that is the most outward sign I've ever seen that you don't trust your quarterback. It's what Todd Bowles did last year with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He was afraid Tom Brady, who's never thrown an interception in that situation since like 2010, was going to throw a pick in that situation. And then he completes a 35-yard pass, and you don't have enough time to get the tying field goal. I mean, or the winning field. I mean, just ridiculous. And that's and these are conservative older coaches who are just about taking the points. Why did he get rid of Kellen Moore? Because he scored too fast. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Welcome to the new NFL, bro. Yeah, that's a disaster. Yeah, that's a disaster.
This is not a good Cowboys team. You look at that early success they had. Who did you have success again with your defense and your offense? Giants, Patriots, and Jets. Well, we've seen what the Jets can do when they really want to, but not early in the season. So that's seriously all the success they've had. They lost to the freaking Cardinals. You lost to the Niners. Now you've beaten a mediocre Chargers team by scoring 20 points, by the way.
Yeah. So
that your defense had to bail you out on the last drive of the game.
Yeah, which of course they did.
Yep.
All right, I want to get to some college football stuff as well. Did you, before I get to the Rays, did you see the Andy Staples on 3 12-team playoff? I'm trying to pull this up right here.
I've heard about it. I have not seen it with my eyes, though.
All right, so I got it right here. Let's see if I can show the folks here. Okay, that's backwards, so you can't really see it. But you got. So I'll show it to you, and I retweeted it so you can jump on at FanStream JP. So he's got in the 12 team, because 4 teams get a bye, top 4 get a bye. So he's got Georgia, Oklahoma, Penn State, and Washington. Okay. I think I think that's a pretty good 4. Georgia runs the table, wins the SEC championship. Oklahoma, they're going to have to beat Texas in that rematch, right? Is that where that's headed?
Yeah, I think so, without a doubt.
And,
I think they will.
You think they will?
Yeah.
Well, just because of the difference, you think Gabriel's better than Quinn?
Man, I was highly impressed with Gabriel
He's really good
at the Cotton Bowl in the Texas OU game, and or sorry for those of you in Oklahoma, the OU Texas game. Got to be careful how you say that around here, JP. A lot of people take exception to it. But no, I think they're better at quarterback. I think their defense is better. And before that game, I wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
But good God, I was impressed by Oklahoma.
Yeah, they've come miles in that transfer portal and Brent Venables in year 2 with that defense. Wow, what a difference. But I saw them. It's funny because against Florida State in that bowl game, I thought Florida State was just going to run them off the field because they were just an average team.
Yeah.
But there was, he had 15 days to change his defense, and they ran the ball and they played really, really well. So I'm not shocked that Oklahoma's as good as they are this year. Right. Penn State, I got to see more from Penn State. I don't see them as a default Big Ten winner at this point. Do you?
No, not at all.
Yeah. So now when they're in the same division as Michigan, right? They have to play, right?
Big Ten. Yeah. They're
Michigan goes to Happy Valley, I believe, in a couple of weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me
double check me on that. And of course, they got to play Ohio State as well. So you've got Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan are all probably going to be in this top 12. I think that's fair to say.
Penn State's in the East.
Okay. So they got to play Ohio State and Michigan.
They've got Ohio State in Columbus.
Right.
And they've got Michigan at home.
Okay. So, that's opposite. All right. I don't see them winning both of those games.
I don't see them winning either one of those games, to be honest with you.
So we'll see. But I think all three remain in the top 12 if you're doing a 12-team playoff. He's just got those 4 getting the bye. And he's got FSU at 6 playing North Carolina at 11, which is interesting because I think it's going to be FSU and North Carolina in the ACC championship game this year, or maybe Louisville, so they got a chance to be in there. But he's got those 2 in one of the quarterfinal games. Michigan and Air Force. He's got Air Force in at 12. I don't know if that's going to, I don't know if that's happening.
I don't know if that'll hold up. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got Oregon and Alabama at the 7 and 10. Which I like what I saw from Oregon. They're a really good football team. Bo Nix is good. They play physical, but Washington is really good with Tampa's own Michael Penix.
Yeah.
Or Penix, as
Penix.
Des Howard wanted to say.
Oh,
big Penix energy.
Is he just a disaster on college football coverage? Desmond Howard? I just don't get it, man.
I don't know. He's just like, he's part of the, like, you got to have him. He's just a quirky.
He's a name. I mean, but there's other names out there.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I don't agree with anything he ever says, which is fine. I don't agree with a lot of people, but it just seems off the cuff to me. And I know a lot of that show's scripted.
But he goes to these places. They send him to all these places and he sits down with them. And I tell you what is a disaster though? Fox's coverage, Alex Rodriguez, Big Papi, and Derek Jeter. I can't think of 3 bigger names that are more of a waste of time talking about baseball than I've ever. I mean, they say the most obvious shit. They never call out anybody. That interview, I saw him doing an interview with Evaldi last night, and they're just running their mouths. It's just running their mouths. Like, it's just stupid. Like after the game, who does the interviews after the game? The really good baseball reporter.
Rosenthal?
Yeah, he's so good. And he asks the great questions, and then these idiots, are just there because of their names. Anyway, but College Game Day is still the best. It's the best TV show on.
Yep.
I'm just been my favorite show, the best. They cover college football better than anybody. They give you the right mix of the pageantry and the nonsense and the fun, but they give you the meat and potatoes as well. I freaking love it. I absolutely love it. I'm not a hugest Pat McAfee fan in the world. He's starting to get on my nerves, to be honest with you. But the whole group of them, between I think it's fantastic.
I don't have a problem with McAfee. I just feel like he's being shoved down my throat right now.
Exactly.
Don't tell me when to watch him. I'll watch him when I want.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got the bracket right here if you want to see it on the screen, just for everybody.
Oh, good. So Florida State ACC champ would play North Carolina. Then you got Ohio State in the 8th seed and at large would play Texas. How about that game?
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, and then these are on campus games, by the way, the first ones. So you'd have Ohio State at Texas,
Oregon at Alabama or vice versa, North Carolina at FSU, Chile, mid-January or mid-December. Oh my God.
I'm so excited about this.
On campus playoff college football games. Are you freaking kidding me? The first time ever.
Yep.
So, and then you go, those teams go and play in semifinal games, which I think are going to be neutral site games.
Yep.
And then you, semifinal games. And then you're, into the championship game. So yeah, I'm here for it. FSU's got some work to do, but I like what they did this week. I thought their defense was really, really good. Or not really, really good, but better and getting better.
I've never been a fan of FSU. I've just never liked, I like the Charlie Ward teams,
right?
Obviously
Bobby Bowden years.
But since then I hated Jameis Winston. I've never liked any of their quarterbacks. I can't stand Jameis Winston for some reason. It's not personal. I just don't think he's good. He was great in college, obviously. Yeah. But man, I'm starting to come around on Florida State. Just a lot of it from listening to you guys, you're kind of bringing me over, I think I'm just a bigger fan of good football now than I was when I was younger. I just want to see good football.
Yeah, and they're playing, offensively, they're tremendous. They're scoring, I think they have the longest streak of 30 points a game, but there's still room to grow. Travis has not really hit his rhythm yet. Now they're starting to use some of these other great weapons they have, like Hakeem Williams, who's a 5-star wide receiver. He got one touch and took it to the house this week. They got playmakers everywhere, and they're starting to use them more. So I think Florida State's got a lot of room to grow, and Miami, complete quit job against North Carolina. They're going to get their ass handed to them, hopefully, in Tallahassee. I'll be up there for that game in a couple of weeks. And I think the team to watch to me that's scary right now, Alabama.
Man, they're always scary, right?
Alabama, Saban's, that defense is getting better, and now Milroe, he knows what his they know what his limitations are. Yep. So they're going to pound you in the run game. Alabama, that's a watch out, because I think when do they play LSU? I think it's October. That's got to be coming up soon, right?
Yeah, I'll find out here.
Yeah.
They play LSU coming up. So
November 7th.
If my internet will. LSU on November 4th.
November 4th. Okay.
Yeah, at home in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I think they win that game. And I think they win the West, and then they got to beat Georgia,
which Georgia doesn't look.
And Georgia's going to be without Brock Bowers for a few weeks.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot left in college football. A lot left.
You're never going to against Nick Saban in the playoffs, right?
No.
And he'll figure it out.
To prepare.
Even with quarterback limitations at that position, he's going to figure it out.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go lay. I think they're a nice little price right now to win the national championship. I'm going to go grab some of that this week. Do we need one more break?
Sure.
All right, let's get one more break. When I come back, I'm going to hit the Rays. Quick break, 3-minute break. And some thoughts on Randy Levine of the Yankees talking about the Rays and the Marlins not using their revenue sharing dollars, what I've been telling you. So we'll hit that real quick when we come back. Stay with us.
Coins sitting around the house. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. It will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
All right. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz, the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at The Patio, the place to watch the Bolts game tonight, which will be on ESPN, 7:30 puck drop as they take on the Sabres, trying to break a 2-game losing streak. So head on over there for their happy hour, which is 3 to 7:30 each and every day. $1 off beer and wine. They're $1 off their already low prices. So check out The Patio underneath the palm trees and the stars. A great time to do that as the weather changes, and it's so beautiful here in Florida. All right, I wanted to hit this real quick. This week, the Yankees, Randy Levine, team president, criticized the Rays and Marlins' reliance on receiving revenue-sharing money. Remember, both those teams made the postseason, and the Yankees did not. He said a lot more focus has to be on the individual teams to do better and not just rely on revenue sharing, he said. You can't have 2 Florida teams averaging 15,000 fans. You can't have it. You don't go into an NFL stadium or an NBA arena and see that. And I think that there's been a dependency issue that's got to get better. The commissioner's done an incredible job, has to say that. But now it's on the individual teams. Instead of complaining and whining, we need some more money, you've got to take some responsibility. And remember this, that as the Miami Herald noted, teams pull 48% of the revenue they earn, and the total amount is then split evenly and given to each team. That's the general fund, by the way. So every team gets that amount of money, including the Rays, which at last, 4 or 5 years ago, I think it was reported was at $50 million per team, and revenues have almost gone up by 30-40% since then. So it could be up to $75 million per team. And on top of that, then the lower revenue teams get more revenue sharing, like up to 30-35 million. So as I've told you guys for years and years and years, the Rays are making plenty of money, but they keep their expenses so they don't market the team. Until this year, they never marketed the team. So all these teams that are spending money on marketing, like tens of millions of dollars on marketing, right? They have that, and then they have to revenue share, and they're looking at the Rays that aren't even marketing their team. And that's what he's saying. You guys have become dependent on this money. So you're not even marketing your team. You're not even trying to get people in the, and that's what he did for years, and just banked the money and didn't put it back in. That's why he made hundreds of millions of dollars talking about Stu Sternberg. And you people that's still out there, oh, they're a low revenue team. They can't spend blah, 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 blah. Ridiculous.
A grievance has been filed by the Major League Baseball Association because they know what they're doing, the Rays and Marlins. Yet you still want to cling to this narrative that they don't have the money to spend. They got plenty of money to spend. He just chooses not to spend it and put it in his pocket. Talking about Stu.
Yeah,
So,
if you're looking for an NFL equivalent, just look at the Washington franchise and the ownership under Daniel Snyder and look what happened to him.
Yeah, exactly. And this is why, folks, the commissioner is not jumping up and down about this St. Pete deal, because they know it's going to be the same thing that happened in Miami. You put it in a bad place, you're still not going to grab, and these teams are still going to suck money out of everybody else's pocket and then go to the postseason. These owners aren't going to put up with this. And that's why this deal in St. Pete is very, very much not done, because Major League Baseball is not behind it. They're not going to approve it. Stu knows this. So this, to me, is all a ploy for him to sell the team to these new owners that don't want to build in St. Pete, and Major League Baseball doesn't want them to build in St. Pete. See what I'm saying? He's saying, I want $1.9 billion for my franchise, and if you don't give it to me, I'm going to go ahead and build this stadium in St. Pete where you don't want it. And so it's all
ridiculous.
It's all a little ploy. So we'll see.
I can't wait till I own a major sports franchise, JP.
Yeah. What are you going to do, Tim? Are you going to be truthful with the fans and actually try to win and put?
I am going to be a friend.
I'm
going to be a friend of the fan.
Yes.
But also harsh with my organization.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I may go buy me we got I got a buddy. One of my good buddies owns the Rangers AA affiliate, the Frisco Rough Riders, right down the street here in Frisco.
Mm-hmm.
Super, super cool guy. I've known him for a couple of years now, and he accidentally got into sports ownership. Of course, he's a high-powered attorney, and he's got all the money. But, I always thought, man, if somehow I had a couple million, I could just say, Chuck, man, can I just buy into the team just a little bit? I just want a little piece. Put that on my resume,
Right.
I'm sure he'd be cool. But, man, I don't know if I'd want a major sports franchise or if I'd want like an American Hockey association club or some minor league baseball team or something. I don't know, but I think I'm going to get there, JP. I'm going to get there.
I would be like the guy who founded the Savannah Bananas.
Oh, my God.
I'd change the game. I'd totally change. That guy's printing money. They're just jam-packing stadiums everywhere they go.
They've got celebrities coming out now.
Oh, God,
to be part of their games.
It's the best show in baseball.
God, it's amazing. The guy with the stilts.
Yeah.
He got bats and plays out on the outfield and pitches with stilts.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's so much fun. It's a window into what sports could really be.
Yeah.
And what professional sports is becoming is just revolting to me. I can't stand it. I'm gonna need to do a whole show on that one day. Is just what professional sports has become, because it's not. They've lost complete sight of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it's all patterned about greed and celebrity. Yeah. I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan of what it's become.
That's why. That's the reason I quit watching the NBA. I was an NBA guy till I was probably 40, and then when LeBron came into the league and changed it, I was out. Yeah. I haven't watched, other than a Mavericks playoff game, I haven't watched the NBA. I can't even tell you the last time I watched a regular season NBA game.
Yeah, I for many, many reasons.
Yeah.
All right, great job, Timmy. Appreciate you. Appreciate Scott Reynolds, TJ Reeves, who joined us. If you missed any of it, you can always listen to the show as a podcast on Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, always on YouTube and fanstreamsports.com, our website. Check that out. All the shows are archived there. Lots of places to watch it. Have a great day, everybody. Go Bolts, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.